Okay, check this is working on here. Cool. Receiving the content, great. Hey, that's working. So I'm going to scroll down and put this out on Twitter. Okay, tweet is out there. Cool, that's out there. Yeah, we've got some people's in. So that looks to be all set up properly, which is a good thing. Make sure. It looks to be all working, which is good. Go into live chat so I can see that. How many people are 3? Oh wow, that was quick. Notification squad much. Yep, I am live. Good, it is working properly. Yeah, sorry if I keep saying that, it's because I have to double check this quite often to make sure it is actually working properly, because sometimes it can be slightly annoying. Is that thing... do I have another one? Sorry, I'm just quickly doing some stuff with the pen I use for the drawing tablet. Switching some stuff over and just making sure it's all good. It doesn't take too long, which is a plus. There we go. Get in the lemon. There we go, that's back in place now. So yeah, welcome to what is essentially part 2 of this. Again, still doing Q&A and whatnot, but this one's a little bit different because this is more stuff that I've been meaning to draw or design and never really got around to doing so. And also I did put a thing out on Twitter which was saying about what it is going to be about. So the first one is doing some designs for something that I've been meaning to do for a while, which I will explain in a second. The second one is I'm gonna start essentially roughing out designs for this site called Redbubble, which I found, which is a place where if you produce art digitally, you can upload your images to the website and they can turn them into shirts, hoodies, stationery, pins, stickers, stuff like that. And so I figured may as well start doing some designs now and you know, potentially get them up there and have a little something for a secondary income rather than well, to help support the channel pretty much. Because my essential idea with the designs is I design them to support the channel, and then whatever I get from that I feed into the channel, so things like better recording equipment eventually. I say eventually because that's going to take a while. Sorry, I just had to cough. Better games, you know, hopefully eventually, I do say eventually with like a huge sense of this is going to be a really long thing down the line, but a more solid gaming computer, like an actual PC, So an actual gaming rig with twin monitor setup, so I can have one thing open on one end and another on the other screen, so that way I can actually stream a bit more efficiently. So the main reason I did decide on Redbubble was just because another YouTuber I watch, he uses this as a thing. If you're wondering which one it is Draw with Jazza. He's an Australian artist, and I just watch his videos because they're really fun to watch sometimes. And he started using this, and I got curious as to what it looks like, and so I went to Redbubble, had a look, and pretty much all his cool designs were there as prints, as posters, as t-shirts, and I thought, that's cool. If I can get something up there, I could potentially use this to support the channel. And so that's the essential idea with the second half of this stream. The first half of this stream is actually going to be dedicated to something a little bit different. I'm just gonna make sure my mic is actually popping up. Yeah, my mic is popping up. So yeah, the first half of the stream is essentially going to be based around a manga which I have been wanting to design for a while. I have had this idea in my head for a bit, and unfortunately I have never had the time or the capabilities to design it how I wanted to design it. Now bear in mind that seeing as it's just me doing the manga, it is going to be a hell of a long working process, and I essentially wanted to use this art stream to design key things as well as explain key parts of the plot to anyone who is actually watching this now or in the future. So if you actually have any questions related to art or media or biology or whatever you can think of, or you're just wondering what I'm doing or want an explanation of something, do chuck it in the chat, because I've got that open on my phone so I can see what everyone's up to. But yeah, that's essentially how this is going to go. Now, should probably also do what I consider a quick explanation of essentially the setup for the idea behind this manga. So let's just increase the hell out of this so I can actually do this properly. Okay. And then just use this to okay, so essentially this is how I'm going to explain the essentially how I'm going to explain the setup for the manga. So in this manga that I'm going to try my absolute best to make, it's going to take a while, but I'm going to try no matter what to make it. There is two worlds. These two worlds are always separated, and they're a world of light and a world of dark. My god, that you know, that's one thing I want to get eventually, is something that can keep up stream a bit. Whoop, nope, didn't mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. That wasn't an accident. View, reset display. There we go. Yep, I always zoom in way too far. Okay, so anyway. Oh, I didn't even click PowerPoint. Yeah, PowerPoint just opened itself for some reason. Hoping that doesn't show up on stream. Why did Excel open? Fuck off. Yeah, hope that doesn't show up on stream, because that was awkward. Anywho, I will get back to the explanation. So at all times, these two worlds are separate. The world of light is known as Liranium, and the world of dark is known as Deuterium. And now essentially they're mirror images of each other. Wow, this yeah, I really do need to get something to keep up with lag and whatnot, but anyway, they're essentially mirror images of each other, whereas the world of light contains hope, happiness, dreams, future ideals, future goals, and all that. The world of darkness contains nothing of that. It is a world where if you went there, you would be fighting to kill, you would be fighting to survive. Essentially, you'd get no rest. Now the thing is, this part here, this red line in between them, the reason why I drew that there is to explain it. This is essentially a dimensional barrier between the two. They are mirrors of the same coin, but they are always kept separate. Now, Deuterium is home to the dark beasts, which I actually called Dusaya. So the dark beasts Dusaya, they essentially can look like pretty much any sort of beast you can probably think of. So wolves, lions, dragons, some random alien creature. They essentially look like they're being tormented, demented, twisted, and all that, and they always have some form of armaments on them because, like I said, they're always in a constant battle for survival, while the world Liranium is home to humans. It is, again, the flip side. The world of light has humans, the world of dark has beasts. Now, the world of dark has no, well, what we would consider natural resources. The Dusaya are the beasts there, and all their armor comes from the realm itself, Deuterium. The Deuterium pretty much arms them at creation. I don't say at birth because the Dusaya do not breed. They create themselves. It's essentially a compilation of all the dark, all the evil, everything there. However, the humans, seeing as this is another version of Earth, do have pretty much all of the metals and resources we would have available to us, but they also have 3 extra things. So they have Lironite, if my stream would keep up with me. So Lironite is essentially pure concentrated energy of light, and that will come into play in a little bit here. They also have Orichalcos, which comes from the idea of orichalcum, but it's more of a metal which can be found more frequently and used by people more frequently. It is probably as strong as fabled Orichalcos, but Orichalcos is what I named it. And then, why did that do that? I did not want that. It just... Okay, here we go. And then the final one that they have is Zirconium, which is a metal which comes from stars. By that I mean it is literally a metal which arrived on Earth from the meteor strike in their history, which you know, wiped out the dinosaurs and whatnot. That entire meteorite spread zirconium around the Earth and has essentially let it grow. Now, that's the setup for the 2 worlds. With the reason why I pointed this thing out here, the dimensional barrier pretty much, is because after so many years, the world Deuterium has started to invade Lyranium. So this line becomes a lot more blurred. And essentially what they do is they warp it like so to allow them to go in, but on the flip side to allow Lyranium to go to them. Now the reason I point this out is because the world of Dark Deuterium, having no natural resources, so to speak, needs, it's a drive for them to want the world of Lyranium, because if they can remove the humans from it, they can continue to invade and terraform and essentially take a world of light and turn it into a new world of dark, which would be filled with various metals and various items, which would make them essentially a lot stronger. So it's essentially them trying to get to a state of power more than anything. Now the Lyranite, hope no one is getting too bored by this explanation, but the Lyranite is essentially the way the humans will fight back. It is essentially a core which, when originally found, would look something sort of like this. I'll just zoom in on it. So yeah, when it was originally found, it would look something sort of like this. I'm just doing a rough design of it because it does kind of look like an ice cream cone now that I think about it. But regardless. So yeah, this is essentially how it would look when it was originally found. Now the thing is, people found it and thought it's just another gemstone. It's something that they can use for decoration. It's something they don't need to worry about because they don't know what it is, so obviously it can't be that useful. But in reality, this little essential gemstone houses a power which allows people to fight back against the creatures of the dark. But no one knows that until essentially the character, which I am kind of making a plot device now that I think about it, the character known as Maker. I don't have a design for him yet. It will take me a while to get one. The character known as Maker, he essentially comes along and shows people that what they're doing is essentially helping to feed the fuel and the fire of their own destruction, because them not knowing what it does and pretty much mining as much of it as possible has made it pretty much easier for the creatures of darkness to come in and pretty much take over Earth. Now the thing is, when I was originally coming up with the idea for Maker, I had envisioned someone who just pops up whenever he chooses and helps out the characters by giving them new items. And that idea kind of remains the same, but one thing I did change with Maker is essentially how he pops up out of nowhere. So Maker is different from all the people as he technically doesn't exist on the planet because of his pretty much connection to the to this. He cannot stay in the same space for more than a few hours at a time, so he is constantly dipping in and out and appearing in new places at random times. So that's essentially how he appears, pretty pretty much close. I'm not going to say near, like right near, but close to the characters whenever they're in a tight pinch. He's also called Maker because he designs, makes, and delivers pretty much the first few characters' weapons, as well as their eventual upgrades. And yeah, essentially, if it wasn't for him, planet Earth would be right well screwed. Well, the world of light would be screwed, and pretty much everyone would die. Yeah, you know, sad moments, but that's just how it is. But that's just how I set it up. So anyway, the first, yeah, so that's how the cord would look. The first design that I want to do is for the, why do I have 3 layers? Oh, that's right. I'm actually starting to think it looks cooler without the line work, you know, just something like this. Anyone else think that looks cooler? Only 2 people watching. Oh, but yeah, no, I think it starts to look cooler like that. I might actually just adjust this then. If I just yeah, no, that does look cooler. Yeah, no. See, this is why I like doing this stuff on stream. I'll notice something I didn't notice before. Alright, anyway, where was I? Why do I keep selecting the wrong thing? So, main characters wise, I've only come up with an idea of 3 of them. And all 3 of them have their weapons, when they're not using them, stored as rings. So I will also write the names below them while I'm at it. Just going to get red for the first one. So the first one is the Nemean Lion Fang. Called it that because I thought one character should have some sort of lion-like imagery to them and essentially try to be the leader of the group, but he'd need something which is a recognizable sign or symbol of essentially, why do I keep doing that? Rotate, rotate, rotate. Rotate right? There we go. Yeah, essentially a way for others to recognize that he is the one who tries to lead, though he might not always. That's pretty much up for debate. I'm just going to draw a dividing line here. And the next one, I need this blue. Oh yeah, I really do need something to fix the lag. But yeah, the second one is called, what did I call it? Ah, that's right. Frozen Fenrir. What was the last? Frozen Fenrir. I'm just going to draw another divide line here. Alright, Frozen Fenrir Claw, that's what it was. So this one, the guy essentially starts as a lone wolf, but he does come back eventually. He does have a change of heart, he does, you know, become a team player, but for the most part he acts solo. He does what he does, he chooses when he goes somewhere, who he saves. He's essentially the guy that seems like a dick at first, but after a while, once you get to know the character, you realize he has his own reasons for doing things, and this is one of them. And then the third one is, I don't know any major dragon names, so I just called it Soaring Dragon Horn. So essentially the three main characters are embodiments of a lion, a wolf, and a dragon. Now the dragon, the guy who uses the dragon usually insists upon honor in battle. It wasn't my original idea for him, but when I started thinking about dragons, I started thinking about knights and dragons, and I started thinking about the Eastern mythology dragons, and then I started thinking about codes of honor and all that. So the soaring dragon horn essentially kind of imparts that little bit of the sense of honor on him, which I think is an interesting way to explain why they change a little bit. Now, each of them has a core. And the core is, of course, geez, I think I made that one a bit small, Lyranite. The core is Lyranite, and it's essentially what allows them to store their weapons, because the Lyranite pretty much via magic allows them to bring their weapons forth and fight against the dark beasts. Now, of course, you may be thinking, oh, it's ring, it's magic and whatnot. They do actually have to physically turn the rings and call forth their weapons. So, Nemean Lion Fang starts as a one full arm gauntlet, one half arm gauntlet that, if I remember correctly, has lion imagery. I did do a way too rough design of this one time, but this is essentially me trying to get a proper version of it done. It has lion imagery on it, and the main weapon for it at that point, it doesn't have one. See, the rings are the first and pretty much basic forms of the weapons. Then after they get the second parts of the weapon, which of course comes from Maker, the second part, the Nemean Lion Fang becomes the Nemean Lion Saber, which allows the user access to a special weapon, which is a sword, no shield, just a sword, and the sword is made of the friggin' Oracalios. And so essentially each time they get a new item, it's a new upgrade. So I am sort of using kind of a Sailor Moon trope now that I think about it, where it's like, we need to defeat this new thing, bam, new item. But no, this is essentially, you don't defeat and banish these things, kiss the world goodbye. And that is the essential idea I had behind it. Like, why would these characters who don't know each other want to fight, want to help? Because if they don't, the world goes belly up. And, you know, I think that's a good way to try and motivate them. Though, I think Maker will probably end up being a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit Obi-Wan Kenobi-ish. So he will give them advice here and there, but he will also kind of troll the everlasting shit out of them without, with not telling them certain things, and, you know, generally just withholding certain information. And so it's essentially they find out why they have to fight together in order to be able to help save the world. Now, the main idea I actually have with the rings is the heads on them, so this part here actually rotates when they call it out, and it's essentially like putting a lock into a door. It lets the magic power know that it is needed and to form, and also essentially what side it's forming on. So with the Nemean Lion Fang, like I said, there's one full arm gauntlet and one half arm gauntlet. The half arm gauntlet goes on the arm which isn't the dominant hand, so I haven't decided which way for the characters, but essentially it is the hand you write with and do the most things with. That's the dominant hand, so that is what determines what side the full arm gauntlet goes on. Now, the Frozen Fenrir Claw, as the name suggests, starts off as a claw. So this one is actually two half gauntlets on either arm and has two large blades coming out of it, which are made of zirconium, and this zirconium is a bit more special because it is blue zirconium, which makes it look like ice. So it's essentially playing into the whole theme of Frozen here. So yeah, this theme here. And the reason why I have wanted that is because when I looked at Fenrir, probably a good few years ago now, when I looked at Fenrir, essentially what I found was a lot of imagery relating it to ice, and I thought that was pretty cool, so I thought I'd play on that somehow and came up with the idea of blue zirconium, which has similar properties, like it has freezing properties when in use, and also allows the ice blue look of the claws on Frozen Fenrir. And again, this one rotates. All of them rotate when they use them, because like I said, it is essentially a key unlocking a gate. And if you're wondering what I'm just doing on the side here, this is just quick little bit of embellishment, you know, make it a little bit more visually interesting. Smooth one for the lion, and jagged one for the wolf. So all three of these do operate with different magic powers. So the Nemean lion operates with light magic. Again, there is magic involved in this, so if you don't like that, apologize. But yeah, the Nemean lion fang operates with light magic. Frozen Fenrir operates with ice magic. Ice mage, why did I write mage? Ice magic. And Soaring Dragon Horn obviously operates air magic. Now the thing is, I didn't want Soaring Dragon Horn to be a Western dragon. I wanted it to be an Eastern dragon, because I find the designs of lung dragons a lot more visually appealing, to be honest. Because though, like, to be honest, some Western dragons are really badass, though they are badass, I do just like have this deep appreciation for the lung dragons, because they explain, like, the lung dragon flies using its magic. And when I thought about making this, I was thinking about this Soaring Dragon Horn, and it's like, if I make it a Western dragon, I'm gonna have to have wings on here, and it got me thinking about the types of dragons I know, and I remembered about the Eastern dragons. the lung dragons, and so I made the soaring dragon horn probably a few years ago now, the ring of it based on a dragon, a lung dragon, sorry, because I did find them a lot more agreeable for the style that I was going for. And then just do this. So anyone who's watching this, do you actually have any questions related to anything I've been saying or just anything in general? Because I am more than open to answer them right now, so just chuck those in chat and I'll see them. And then this part comes out here. Bear in mind, these are like really rough sketches and I'm explaining as I go, so yeah, no, they're not perfect. Oh yeah, I forgot I didn't really describe what the soaring dragon horn is. So with soaring dragon horn, I essentially came up with the idea it is a dragon, so this dragon flies through the air, and I wanted to think of something which I would relate to that. The idea I essentially had behind it is two full gauntlets, so left and right, you know, up to the shoulders, and what happens with it is on the edge which doesn't face the body is a curved, well, essentially a similar horn to what is up here on the top of the dragon head, and that horn feeds, so when the person using it strikes, the horn causes magic to be infused with the air surrounding it, creating essentially a burst of air magic, pretty much. Did I do anything on that layer? I'm gonna put another layer below this, so just so I can have that glowing stand out, because I actually kind of like the idea of that. So if I just I need to put a blur behind. I need to blur that a little bit. Where's my blur tool? And then actually, if I go to 3, do a bit of a blur on here. There we go. Now that looks better. Yeah, now that was bugging me for a little bit, so I just kind of had to do that. I think I might just blur around the edges of this a little bit. Yeah, now that was bugging me for a little bit, so, you know, I had to essentially fix it before I go a little bit crazy. Wow, I actually used a lot of space to explain this stuff. Let's go with a new. Okay. So yeah, that's essentially explanation page 1, and what I'm about to do is 3D body pose, entire body. No, I want I just want arms. So the plus side about using this software is you do get access to these drawing models. So you got the man, you got a male one, a female one, and you can just draw whatever you want on them. It is really good. I'm just going to leave that one there. Yeah, just like that. Because what? Oh, geez, not again. Because I want to focus on this arm. Pull that layer up. Go to this one. Decrease this a bit. 50 probably do it. Yep. And the main reason I wanted to do that is because I kind of want to get a rough design for one of the pieces going. So essentially just going to go in and rough out the shape on this. And before you ask, when they use the rings do actually disappear, and they're there technically, but they're essentially hidden by magic. That's essentially the way I decided to explain them. But yeah, if anyone does have questions, just throw them in chat. I will do what I can to answer them. And then we do need to do the fingers now that I think about it, because if I didn't do that, I'd be kind of an idiot. Should probably just draw the over the joints of the fingers too, so that way I can make sure that I get it somewhat accurate. There's essentially no, so what I'm doing here is just so I know where the finger would bend, so that way I don't make it look like it's physically impossible to bend your hand to make a fist. Yep, just like that. And get a new layer. I'm going to scrap that layer because I don't need the drawing figure anymore. Take this down to 65 opacity. I do, when it comes to certain things, like to use a excuse me, a blue pencil for when it comes to essentially just drawing over something I've already done, because if I do this, if the stream will catch up, essentially if I do this, it stands out a bit more and makes it a lot easier for me to essentially keep track of what area needs more or what area needs less. And I'm actually going to start with the hands, because I think it's probably one of the first few things that needs attention. So one idea I did want to keep is that the core will appear somewhere, usually a bit bigger. So for this one, it appears on the hand and has what is essentially a mane. Oh, make it look like a flower, bloody hell, I suck at drawing manes. It essentially has this around it, so it kind of signifies that it is the lion. With the fingers, kind of thinking something a little bit simple but effective. So essentially what I'm thinking here is, where is it? There it is. Actually need to erase that a little bit. Just get some blank space there by erasing that. So if you've ever seen knuckle dusters, you'll know they have raised bits, and seeing as this is a primarily, you know, fist weapon in its first stage, I essentially wanted it to actually look like it could deal damage. So the idea of putting those circles there is essentially they're raised bits of metal, so that is what would be doing the damage in a fight, plus the magic, obviously. Then just keep the hand, the rest of the fingers relatively normal. It's generally how I do that part. Now we got to here. So if I'm looking at this right, because I am using my own arm as reference here, this part here is the elbow, so I want to do something sort of like this. Of course, there will need to be a gap here to allow actual movement and essentially make it look like the person wielding it can move their arm. And again, I'm just doing little bits of detail here and there. And then probably give about up to here for this piece. Then this one goes up like this. Anyone who's actually watching this got any questions? Because I'm essentially just sitting here and talking about probably some really random stuff which some people might not understand, so yeah, legitimately just throw questions at me. I will try answer them. Unless questions have actually popped up. Live chat? Nope. Haven't missed a message. Weird. Sometimes my YouTube live stream stuff can miss a message, but I don't think it has this time. Then we're gonna go essentially like this. Again, I'm not the best at drawing a lion's mane. I want to get better, but this is just a rough drawing at this point. Yeah, this is just a really rough drawing at this point. So yeah, that's how, basically how I want the Nemean Lion Fang to look. Of course, it's probably going to go through a lot more changes before I actually do more, but realistically speaking, that's how I want that to look. I'm actually just going to save both these files. File, save as, because I just realized I haven't saved them yet. Let's call it idea page 1, and then this one can be idea page 2. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I want to go on to doing those other designs now. So I should probably actually throw out the bloody name of my thing on Redbubble, because I am about to start doing the designs for that. If you don't want to watch that stuff, you can leave. It doesn't bother me. I'm just doing this because I want to. You know, I'm just sitting here drawing my own stuff. So if you do actually want to eventually see what these things look like, what you're looking for is that name. So once the stream actually catches up, if you do want to go on Redbubble after seeing what I do and actually want to get something, that is the name you want to look for. So this part here is a nickname of mine. Wow, my writing turned to shit there at the end. Anyway, yeah, this first part where it's Woody is a nickname of mine because of my last name. And then I just put the drawer afterwards because, you know, kind of just saying what I'm doing. So if I can get a link to it through my laptop, I'll put it in the description of the archive of this stream. I couldn't do that before I had set it up, so yeah, I essentially just kind of probably do it later. So the main reason I set that up is because, you know, as I explained earlier, I want to get a way to support the channel somehow. And for the longest time I'd been sitting here going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for this Redbubble thing? What am I going to put on it? And then I remembered a series I absolutely, like, I love it to bits because it is a shit ton of fun, and that is Monster Hunter. Now, I'm not going to be recreating the monsters from Monster Hunter. I'm going to be designing my own. And now there's two things you need to know about Monster Hunter. One, the monsters are big, you're small, you have to fight them, you have to kill them. Two, they actually have a really cool thing where it's like you got the monster, like you don't know what it looks like, but what you get is an icon, something sort of like this. Now bear in mind this is just like a rough sketch explanation. You get an icon, something sort of like this, where it's like a stylized thing. You'll see the different colors on it. You'll see that they put detail into it, but that's just essentially my quick way of explaining it. So I essentially settled on the idea that when creating my own monsters, I'm going to come up with my own way of doing a basic depiction of them. So I liked how Monster Hunter did theirs. Theirs were kind of confined to essentially a square. I know that's a rectangle, but that's just because I was doing a quick drawing. Mine, I want to be a bit something more like this. So what I'm essentially going to put them in when I design the icon version of it is pretty much an octagon now I think about it. It's an octagon, but where is it? This one, this one, this one, and this one. These four sides are all rounded, while this one, this one, this one, and this one, all those four sides are still flat. So I thought it would look cool. Honestly, I still think it looks cool. But that's what I'm essentially planning for that. I'm just going to erase this because I'm going to need a friggin' layer. So I'm actually going to do a quick search on Google for some reference images of a couple things that I want to use. I'm not sure if this will show up on stream. It's not going to show up on stream, sorry. So first part is a wolf, because I do love wolves. They are cool. They're badass. Where's one? Can I seriously get one which how do I get one that isn't subject to copyright? I always forget that. I know I did the thing. 1 point settings. Wolf. Screw it. I'm just gonna go wolf because I'm trying to find something which I can use straight away for it. Oh, do I want to go wolf first one? Yeah, I kind of do because wolves are fucking cool. I want to view the image. Daddy big wolf. Hit me. So yeah, all these images I'm just getting from Google Images, so you can just go there if you want to see them. Have to say that because I am technically probably using something which has a bit of copyright to it. So I wanted wolf. Next one, I wanted was an ankylosaurus. And you'll see where my brain is going with this idea in a bit. No, not ankylosaurus. Was it triceratops? Was it? I'm trying to remember my dinosaur names here because I'm looking at an ankylosaurus and I was like, not quite what I wanted. Well, not exactly. Let's try triceratops. What is a really well-known armored dinosaur? Because I know there's Ankylosaurus, Triceratops, Pachycephalosaurus, no, Pachyrhinosaurus, no. Not a Velociraptor. Actually, no, we'll go with something a bit more predatory. Because, I mean, we're using a wolf. It would not make sense to fuse it with Triceratops. No, actually, let's just go Velociraptor. Velocity formula, no thanks. Yeah, I had to unplug my mouse to yeah, no. I had to unplug my mouse to be able to use this setup properly. Properly. Yeah, where are my words today? And as such, it does make it a little bit trickier to select certain images. I'm just going to transform this one so I can get it to a decent size. Okay, and then we want to go here, Control T. I did not rotate it. Oh, not on purpose at least. So we got 1, 2, and there was a third one that I needed to grab for this. Wolf, Velociraptor, and what was the last one? Shit. I'd had this in my mind for a little bit, but now I'm forgetting all of what I said I wanted to find and mix together. Two watching. Kind of surprised. Anyway, wolf, Velociraptor, and what was it? Wolf, Velociraptor. Wasn't winged beast. No, it was another one. Another one I was thinking of. Again, I heavily apologize for this. Was an ice elemental, that's it. And you'll understand why I want an ice elemental image in a second, because it does tie into the idea of the wolf. You know, well, they're living in relatively cold climates and whatnot. That's a good one. Kind of like that one. Honorbound. Thank you, Honorbound, for your image. I don't even know what that... I think it's a game. Yeah, Honorbound game. Called it. Excuse me. Copy image. Control V. And now we need to resize this yet again. So yeah. Essentially the three things I wanted to sort of combine for the first image. Wolf, Velociraptor, and an ice elemental. And the main reason for that is so that I can... I feel like I need a bigger page. Selection, layer, animation, edit. I think it's an edit. Change canvas size. Let's beef this up. And let's increase it by 10 each side. That can be okay. Yep, there we go. That's a bit better. I can zoom out a bit now. Yeah, that is a lot more space to work with. So, let's see. I'm gonna go in with a pretty red and highlight the features that I want on the essentially what I want on the animal. Is someone playing music near me? That's probably one of my neighbors. Anyway, so kind of want to keep the idea of the Velociraptor body. Yeah, I want to keep this from the Velociraptor. Kind of like the idea of the jagged eyes protruding from places like here on the arm, over here too, and over here. You know, that sort of stuff for accents, pretty much. What I mean by accents is like specific features to put on it. Keep the idea of having the back leg, like the base of it, being a wolf's paw, so I want this essentially on this. Then actually I think if we mess with the front part we could probably get away with the paw. Oh no, we'll keep, yeah, we'll do the back ones as paws, front ones as claws. Then I kind of want to keep this part of the wolf, not the bottom jaw, just this part, and kind of want to use part of the bottom jaw of the Velociraptor. Tail wise, probably, you know, we'll probably start the tail with the back end of the Velociraptor, but it will go something towards more like a wolf tail, which is combined with, yet again, more ice fragments. So I got a rough idea of what I'm going to do here. Yeah, those are the features that I want to keep, and the next most difficult part is actually designing the thing, because as much as I'd like to think this is going to be easy, this is not going to be easy. So essentially, looking at the Velociraptor body, what we've got is I'm starting with the body first, because if I can work out how I'm positioning this, it's going to be so much easier. So that's the front, and then back would probably be something like this. And then in between here, the back part needs to be a bit closer now that I look at it. Messed that up. Yeah, this back part needs to be a bit closer. And then we're going to just go Control T, rotate it a little bit, because actually looking at that Velociraptor body, I actually might just scrap that layer. Yep. Scrap this layer because I'm not working big enough for what I am going to do. Zoom out. Okay, anyway, so looking at the Velociraptor body, again I'm talking to myself because this makes it easier. We have a ridged point between them, which then curves up into the neck like this. Then the front part of the neck comes down here. Looks to be about here that this sort of dip occurs, according to the image. Then that would feed out something like something sort of like that for the idea of the body. Again, this is the rough. I'm going to do a refined sketch using this as essentially a guide. I put that head in a really weird place because this part here goes up to lower jaw, while this one connects on to the back of the cranium. One, two, leg one, leg two. And that'd be like that, and then go into the wolf's tail. And then let's see, how does the back leg of the Velociraptor go? So essentially be back like this, bit of a raised part here like that, which then has another joint there from the look of it, which then would go like that. At least that's relatively easy to draw. And then that'd go into the paws. Kind of actually want to put fur on its back and have pieces of ice sticking out, sort of like this. Have a little bit of ice coming out of the tail too, just because I think that'd look cool. Front leg, the front things go like this. Joint there, joint there. Probably need a bit of fur on the underbelly too, now that I think about it. You know, connect the fur up to the tail like that. Which means he'd probably have actually fur going up to his head. Yeah, I said I'd keep the original head shape of the wolf, but I do kind of like the Velociraptor head shape for this, so there'd be more something like this. And then I would go there. I don't like this ear. It does look weird at the moment, but that's because this is a highly rough sketch. More ice off either side of these. A little bit of ice off the back of these. And then this thing would have 3 claws each hand. Thing. and I think I'll actually restrict the hair to the back of the head, or the fur to the back of the head at least. So that would actually go something sort of like that, and then we need to move the eye as a result, so the eye would be more there. God, this looks like an abomination at the moment. I will openly admit this looks sort of disturbing right now, but I'm going to try to improve that. And we will go back to the blue, because I like using blue when I'm designing something. Alright, that. I think I will actually probably just do this rough version and then, you know, probably stop the stream. Mainly because once I've got the rough version done, gives me base idea for how I'm going to do the refined version. How do the eyes of a wolf look? They're more rounded with dark undercolor. That's more. Okay, so it's more like. Okay, I can kind of understand how to do that now. Why is that so big? So this would be a bit more. Like this. Probably put another slit over there just to, you know, let people know that it does have two nostrils. And now I'm getting hungry, great. Yeah, there's another reason for me to stop in a minute. Hunger is kicking in. Well, I'm getting hungry. I'll do something sort of like this for the eyes. You make it look like there is essentially it's made up of different colored ices and whatnot. I actually do a rough color scheme idea on this thing once I'm done. Well, once I'm done with the base sketch. Course, because ice can do whatever the hell it wants, but it generally forms in this for this thing. Each part of the ice has obviously got a little bit of a difference to it. Some might have something sort of like that. Of course, bear in mind this is nowhere near finalized. This is the most rough thing I can essentially design with this. I actually like the idea of there being larger teeth here. Make it look more menacing. Add big teeth. Add big teeth, make it menacing. I'm just going to steal something from the wolf here. Oh, that makes it look like it's got eyeshadow. Let's not do that. Yeah, just have the eye like this. So then with this part, the ice has essentially formed onto its body, so it's obviously going to be little pieces here and there where it does look like it's formed on, and you know, there's a little bits of frost on other parts. How does the arm structure like look? Okay, so there is actually a bit of a defined line between the main reason I'm just double checking every now and then my reference images is because I want to get this looking pretty cool. So references are probably one of the best ways to do that. Bear in mind, I have played Monster Hunter a lot, so I know there isn't a creature like this. If I was doing anything too similar to a monster in Monster Hunter, I would be stopping myself and designing a new thing. But I am not, so that is a plus. Need to make that look like it's got more of a rounded area at the base there, because though they don't look like they have essentially a ball and wrist, ball joint wrist like what we do, they do actually have a way to maneuver their kind of little grabby hands. Not sure how you describe them. And then this would come down here, like this. Form up over here, like so. And then I'm going to make this one a little bit different yet again. Hey Capcom, hire me. I have ideas. I could make the next. I can make a few things for Monster Hunter for you if you wanted. Not kidding. I'd actually love that chance. Just actually like kind of be the one who designs a new monster or brings something. What is up my thing? No, there we go. Bring something which hasn't been seen before to the Monster Hunter world. Like, if I got to do something like that, oh my god, that'd be incredible. Again, let's do this one partially frozen onto the body. Just like that. Now, when I'm actually thinking about a wolf, where's the paw? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, small back one. So I'm going to take the idea of the Velociraptor here and give it essentially 3 parts to a paw, each with sort of sharp claws. And then I think probably on this part of the leg, make it known that this is actually fur, because if it goes straight from dino skin to something like this, it doesn't make sense, which means we don't essentially have to do that. We just draw a bit more fur around it. So then that one comes down like this, and then back one over here goes like that. That goes like that. That goes like that. That goes like that. Then I'm thinking probably something along here would start to kind of show that it's going into fur. Probably like this. Then we're going to go up a little bit here. Yeah, I think, though currently disturbing, I'm going to have a better image for it soon, I hope. I think that actually needs to come more down here. So then we just get rid of in there. Yeah, mentally disturbing at the moment, nowhere near complete. This is the concept page for it, but it is what I have wanted to design for a while, which nothing about it is kind of creepy. Save this. Frozen Frozen Raptor rough. Well, that's that visual and mental abomination done. Well, preliminarily done. The main reason I just did it on a sort of side angle like this is because I don't know how I want the final pose to look. Because currently we have that to work with. Well, I have that to work with. So, you know, I could have it so its head is facing this way, it's doing the Velociraptor thing with its bottom jaw being open and it looks like it's charging at something, or, you know, I'm going to work this out in my own time because I don't want to stay on streaming for too long. I will probably spend a lot of time doing all the the heavy amount of detail that I've got planned for this, so that it actually looks professional. But at the moment, that is essentially what I've got, and this is where I'm going to end the stream. So honestly, thank you to whoever actually came out and watched me essentially flail around with this for a little bit. It was sort of fun to get an explanation of something I want to do, well, two things I want to do out there, and hopefully I can get this to a point in the future, probably sometime over the next few weeks, where it is done to the standard where I'll essentially be ready to do the icon of it. Then once I've got the icon of it done, I will probably put those on Redbubble. Again, I will try get the link to that, so it'll be in the description of the archive of this. Hopefully that goes according to plan, but yeah, you can look forward to seeing this abomination up there sometime in the next probably 2-3 weeks, but as a lot more refined, hopefully something a bit more, you know, a bit more professional, because this was just a highly rough sketch. But thank you everybody for coming along, and I guess this is where I'm gonna cut it, so catch you guys next time.